Next, forces can be separated into two kinds, contact forces and non-contact forces. Contact forces, as the name suggests, is that I touch the object and only because I touch the object, I can apply a force on the object. Non-contact forces are able to apply from a distance. Okay, let's say Earth, all right? So Earth pulls everything towards itself, okay? And the gravitational force that the Earth used to pull everything towards the ground, right, is known as a non-contact force. The object doesn't need to be touching Earth for Earth to apply the force on the object. Okay, let's say you have a piece of paper in front of you and you try to blow towards it. Why the paper move? Is there contact force or non-contact force? So a piece of paper and then you blowing at the paper. The paper moves, of course. All right. So is this contact force or non-contact force? This is contact force. Your mouth is in contact with the air as you push the air out of the mouth. Okay, the air moves like how a basketball will move when you throw it at your friend. Okay, then when the air hits the paper, when the basketball hits your friend, then the paper will feel a force, your friend will feel a force because the air is touching the paper, because the basketball is touching your friend. Right? Hopefully not in the head. Yeah? So remember that air is still an object. Okay. Now I'm going to go a little bit deeper on the non-contact forces. There are 4 non-contact forces known to man. Okay. Out of these 4, right, you'll see that number 3 and number 4, you don't even need to know that they exist. Number 2 is covered in upper sec in detail. And that's the thing. And the thing is, electromagnetic force, right, will not appear together with forces, even though it is a force. Okay, but you still have to know that there's such a thing called electromagnetic force, which leaves us with gravitational force. The gravitational force, right, is the only non-contact force that you're going to see in this chapter. Okay, and gravitational force has another name, just called weight. Okay, not mass. Weight and mass is not the same thing. Okay, the only non-contact force you're going to see in this chapter, right, is the weight, which means all other forces are contact force. When you ask yourself what forces are acting on the object, first of all, of course, its own weight is acting on the object itself. Then, after labeling weight, I ask myself, this object, what is it touching? Let's say it's touching object A. How does object A exert a force on the object? Okay, and then object B is also touching the object that I'm concerned with. And then how is B exerting a force on the object? Is it pushing the object away? Is it pulling it towards itself? Is it preventing it from sliding? Right? So we start asking these kind of questions for every single one of them that is touching the object. If there is another object in the scenario, in the setup, but it is not touching my object. Let's say one example is I have a painting, okay, that I frame it up and then I hang it on the wall using a string and a pin. Okay, the string is touching the painting here and here at these two sides. Okay, but the pin is not. Okay, so the pin is not touching the painting. So there is no way the pin can exert a force on the painting because the pin is not touching the painting. Okay, let me give you some other example. Let's say I have a box on a ramp. Okay, I have a box on the ramp. So what are the forces on the box? My focus is on the box. So the first thing that I'll be drawing is the weight. Okay, how do I draw the weight? Start from somewhere in the center of the object, draw a line vertically down, label and write down the whole name, the whole English word weight. I'm done with the non-contact force. Next, I ask myself, what is touching my box? Okay, first, the RAM. Okay, so the RAM is touching my box. And the RAM doesn't really like the box. The box wants to go downwards into the RAM. The RAM doesn't want that. So the RAM push up. Okay, this force is called the normal force. Okay, normal here means perpendicular. So the normal force always acts perpendicularly from the surface. Okay, so in this case, the surface is here, so the force is perpendicular to the surface. Okay, so I label the normal force already. Next, these things want to move or is already moving. Okay, so when things that want to move or already moving, I have friction. In this case, it wants to move downwards. And let's say if you want to move downwards and it is not moving downwards, it means that there must be a force that is preventing it from moving. Okay, so since you want to move downwards, there must be a force moving upwards, preventing it from moving, and this force is friction. Okay, so the normal force and friction are all contact force. They can exert on the box only because they are touching my box. Okay, so with this, I hope that you are clear on contact forces and non-contact forces.